Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, May 5th, and welcome to an all-new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is a model, actor, and not only that, but he has given us some hits as well, too, as an artist. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have UK native Donnie Razor. I'm super excited for this interview. I hope you guys are all doing excellent. I feel fabulous. Happy birthday, Kimora Lee Simmons. Today's look is an homage to Kimora Lee Simmons, ladies and gentlemen. She's such a fashion icon, and I thought I would pay homage to her today with today's look. You know, I love my long hair. I love my bone straight hair. Shout outs to my makeup artist, Melanie Nalamai Bridges, for making sure that we are right for this evening's interview. I'm super excited, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited, and I hope you guys are all doing wonderful today as I am. All right, so without further ado, let me make sure that our very special guest is ready for the interview today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited. Let me send him a message and let him know that we're on. Because we got some things we're going to be diving into, and I'm so excited, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. Also, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. We have Jamai Music in the building. He will be joining us, ladies and gentlemen. And Saturday, Renaissance Jones and A.G. Robinson will be back in the building. So we have a great lineup for you guys this week. So make sure you guys are staying tuned. You never know who is going to pop up in the dollhouse here. So you guys just have to stay tuned. In the meantime, between time, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our very special guest, Donnie Razor. Hello, hello. Welcome to the dollhouse.
Uh, Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Excuse my I'm trying to get these filters off on my phone, but it's not. Get off.
I see you all are coming in. Shout outs to my girl, Queen Malika. She's going to be on the show sometime next week. So make sure you guys tune in. Give it a second. Uh-oh, I think Donnie froze on us. Give it a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I'm going to add Donnie back to the live so that we can get into this interview. Shout outs to Queen Malika. Miss TJ Sashi is going to be in the building sometime next week, if I'm not mistaken. You are so welcome, girl. All right. Give it a sec. Donnie is over here working with these filters, trying to get it off.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. We can hear you and see you.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to. I've not done this before, so you have to excuse me.
You will definitely get used to it. You'll
Thank you.
get used to it when you want to go live. So welcome to the dollhouse, Donnie.
Thank you for having me here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's get into this interview, Fashion Dolls. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Because I know right now, when we were talking, you said you were in New York, and we know the shutdowns up there in New York has affected a lot of people, actors, content creators, producers, and so much more. How has this pandemic affected you, and how have you been managing thus far?
So you know what actually affected me in a good way? If you can use the word affected, I would say it's actually a blessing in disguise for myself. It kind of helped me to recuperate, analyze a lot of things that are going on in my life, and adapt and make the best of the situation. So, regardless of the unfortunate upsets of some people might have lost their lives, and
Mm.
people got sick and stuff like that. But overall, I think that for myself personally, it helped me become a better person. I got to kind of realize some things about myself internally that I could do better, and some things that I should keep, I guess, that will help me with myself. So it actually was overall good for me, and I actually had more work coming in, and things like that, you know, more projects were coming in, and I created a business and stuff, you know, so yeah, it went well, thank you. But how about yourself? Did it affect you in the same way?
And I'm kind of laughing because it's been difficult. It truly has. You know, with being separated away from family and things like that. Like I'm so used to being able to go shop with my cousin. The things that we used to do, we can't do. We're now having to limit it down. Thankfully for me, I'm still able to go and see my grandmother. She's still here. She's still well. I actually get to see her tomorrow. She's going to be riding with us. We're going to run some errands.
Great.
My mom has always been there. My father's always been there. And then my brother, he works outside of another part of South Carolina. So luckily for him, he's able to come home on the weekends and I'm able to see him. So I'm thankful for that. But as you mentioned, it's sad that so many people have lost their family relatives, their moms, their dads, and then Mother's Day is just Sunday. So yeah, it's bittersweet. It's been a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been a lot, definitely. But I feel somewhat normal now. I don't know about yourself, but I can definitely feel like normality within the last, well, especially this year. So it can only get better, as they say.
Absolutely. And we're starting to see just a little bit of that normalcy where things are starting to open up just a tad bit and people are starting to get just that little bit of comfort that they've been missing during this entire pandemic. Because I'm not going to lie, we've been in the house just going crazy. A lot of people have been behind doors like, let me get out. I need to get out. And as we see, the world is starting to open up just a little bit more, but we're still taking those precautions. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Um, take,
All right.
nothing wrong with precautions. You know.
Yes. And I'm a big germaphobe, so I have been distancing myself every time I see somebody. I'm just like, okay, let me move on over here. Okay, I'm good. So whenever I go out, I've always liked that. I'm always wiping things out. I find myself cleaning a lot more than I would normally clean. But yeah,
Right,
like I
but
said,
yes, there's nothing wrong with being extra clean, as you say.
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And speaking of extra clean, we're gonna get into the Met Gala because I seen the photo and my jaw dropped. I dropped the phone literally. I said, we got to talk about this Thursday. So we're going to talk about fashion because I love your style. I think you are very handsome. You are very dapper.
Thank you.
And you've also done some modeling as well, too. We'll get into that. So, oh my goodness. So how did you get involved in the industry? Because I also, before the break, while I was getting my makeup and my hair done, I was listening to your single, Rain in Tears. Beautiful single. So yes.
That's I didn't expect that one. You landed that. You threw that on me just now. Um, that was years ago. You know, wow, years ago. That was I think it's my first single that I did. I haven't done music for a while. I'm still doing stuff. I'm actually starting writing, collaborating with some people again. In case they're watching, shout out to Dean and Odyssey. He's not on here, but we've started collaborating again. So that's another story. But Rain and Tears was one of my babies. You know, that was my personal song through my own experiences that I went through. And I did a little music video to it. I'm surprised actually you found that, but it's definitely out there. So you've resurfaced it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful single. So how did you get your start? Because you started off as a music artist and then you got scouted in the UK, London, am I correct?
So did you say I started off as a music artist? You said?
As an artist, yes, and then
Yeah,
you did modeling.
that's right. Yeah, music's always been my love. You know, I've always loved doing music, and from there, yeah, I grew up in the coast of London. So it's like, say, I don't know if you know New York and Long Island. There's like an hour. You can travel maybe an hour and a half from the city. So I grew up about an hour and a half away from London. So the music was like always something that I loved doing. That got me to London, and then the modeling started incorporating with that. And before you know it, the acting came in with that. So yeah, originally I went to a music academy as well. Actually, I forgot to say. So I went to a music academy first, and then pursued the music that way. But then the modeling came in once I moved to London. Kind of tied in that way.
So what was that experience like for you, from starting off writing your music, going to the music academy, now transitioning into modeling? Because the modeling industry, the fashion world it's just out of control. And I've interviewed some models on my platform: Connie Fleming, who's walked for Terry Mugler, Carolyn Miles, who's also walked for Terry Mugler as well. Rest his soul, he was one of the most pivotal fashion designers of the fashion. And when I see the picture of you and Kit, we'll get to that.
Okay. Okay.
We'll get to
Yeah.
that. When I seen her in the picture, that was the first designer that I thought of. I said, "Wow, this will be right up this alley." Is Terry Mugler. But I've interviewed some models, and they said backstage it is pretty chaotic. So, for you transitioning from music to modeling, what was that experience like? The fashion world is a whole different experience.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because they are so different, but there's so many similarities as well. Um, Same with the acting, all entertainment in some way, shape or form, So, but the transition was like very different in terms of the profession itself. Like the result of it has a similar concept where you have to be creative, right? So you have to be creative in fashion, you have to be creative with music. Then there's a process of, you have a vision and you have to create this vision in the physical form. Same with music, you create, you hear a song, something in mind. Same with fashion, you have an idea of a project, and then you actually have to do it. So the doing it part is what's definitely a lot different. Example, going out in front of people in your underwear, in front of 800 to 1,000 people in your underwear. That was something I had to get.
Right.
I had to get used to that very quickly, and so yeah, that the transition though was pretty smooth, to be honest, pretty smooth. You can't really prep for it. You just have to just go with it. And if you enjoy doing it, then I'm just like, okay, I like this. Get to meet different people, travel. So, work on your own schedule, but you need to work. It's a very spontaneous industry. I'm sure you know yourself. You have to kind of take what you can when you can. So, but the transition was pretty smooth, I would say. I'm still kind of juggling it all around to this day, to be honest.
It definitely is a balance, the fashion world. And I brought that up because I've seen models backstage. I know what it's like. It's a lot of tearing and ripping and buttoning up and zipping and come on, we need you on stage. It's like an adrenaline rush, especially during New York. You're in New York Fashion Week. I have family in New York. So my sister kind of put me onto it. My aunt and cousin kind of put me onto it. Like, girl, when you come up here, this is what you need to expect if you're going to Fashion Week. Backstage, it's chaotic. It's chaos. So I know what it's like. And how do you find that balance between doing music? Because you said you also write as well too. And how do you find the balance between doing the music and the modeling and the acting? Because you also act as well too.
Right. Um, the balance, it's hard. It's a good question, that because you can get distracted very easily by doing all of it at once, and you might lose momentum in, say, like the modeling, and then you're focusing on the music, or you're focusing on the acting. You kind of get distracted a little bit, but I do think there's a sense of just adapting and learning to be able to do it all if you can. I would say that a problem. It's not a problem. I say the tricky thing is multitasking, but incorporating them all. being able to juggle all of it at once, without losing momentum on in each field, shall we say? Yeah. So I think did that answer your question there? I don't know.
You
Specific.
did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just like, you juggle so many hats. You do music, you do modeling and acting as well too, and you write. So it's definitely have to be about balance. And even for me behind the scenes here on my platform, I have to make sure that everything is set up right, and I have a co-host. For those of you who do not know or aware, I have a co-host. Johnny, shout outs to him. He's gonna be back pretty soon, but he knows what I go through behind the scenes, what we both, we're negotiating things to make sure, okay, is this the direction we want to go in this season? So it's definitely a balance. Thank you, Jay Evans. Welcome to the Dollhouse, my love. We are here with Donnie, and I'm super excited for this interview because we're going to talk about my favorite thing. We're going to talk fashion. I'm holding off on that moment. I don't want to talk about it just yet.
Yeah,
So,
we're getting premature on the moment, right?
yes.
Do you mind if I shut my window? I can hear some noise. I don't know if you can hear the noise that's going on, but I'm going to shut my
Sure.
window.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Go ahead. I'll keep
Thank
the audience. If you guys have any questions ready for Donnie, make sure you can type them in the little bubble or you can type them in the comment section. Again, this evening's look, of course, a gown Ben had from Fashion Nova, if you guys are wondering. And shout out to my makeup artist again, Melanie Nalamai Bridges. She gets me right each and every day. This week, the glam has been on point. So shout outs to Melanie. I had to throw that out there. And we're back with Donnie, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm holding off for that moment. I'm holding off because I don't want to get into it. It's just that huge. When I seen the picture, I said, wow. I know you must be freaking out on the inside, but he was standing there so calm. I'm not going to get into it. But we're going to talk a little bit about the arts. How do you feel the arts are important with today's society? Because so many people pull influence from so many things. Like me, I pull inspiration from reading a lot of Vogue magazine. I read a lot of fashion magazine. I read a lot of Harper's Bazaar. I read a lot of Vogue. I read a lot of just in general nature. Nature has also been an inspiration for me as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel the arts are important to help in today's society? Fashion, i.e. music, i.e. Production, behind the scenes, whatever it is. How important do you feel the arts are?
Extremely important. I think they've always been probably one of the most important influences in terms of a profession in the world. What's the number one profession? Probably what Microsoft. Well, engineering, computer work, computer engineering, computer programming. It's probably one of the largest industries in the world, most lucrative industries. But that has a huge effect. But probably second to that is the arts. So it has a huge influence on the youth today. So that's why, even more so, we have to be careful of what we do, what we say, and how we act within what we do, within the arts. Hugely important today for the youth. And I have to catch myself, okay, Donnie, you have to think about, how you might influence somebody younger. Sometimes we don't even know that most of the time actually, we don't even know that we might influence somebody that's younger. They might not even be younger. They might just be, might be older than you, but they're still, they want to go into the industry. They want to go into the career that you're in. And we have to also, to be careful of our character, I think, personally speaking, just of how we act outside of work and in work, but also not be true to yourself, but don't be fake about it, For me personally, you may have seen that, I'm a big believer of having God as my source, praying and having God as my source and making sure that's my foundation and my priority, then everything else comes after that. And the moment I lose focus of that, I start to lose myself, for me personally. So, it has a huge impact. So I think I try. So I have to be aware of that side of things. Um, just because I believe it doesn't mean I'm the holiest person in the world. It's just me. I'm actually, we're all a work in progress. I'm probably the messiest of them all, but I still try. I still do my best, and I still try to stay focused, you know.
Absolutely. L Pierce 187 says, "Man, I like Donnie, and right now I'm loving how transparent you are." You said I'm not the holiest person, and it takes all of us to realize that we're not perfect. The only person that we know is who. So we can't go out here and make ourselves into his image, into his likeness. We can strive in a way to get there, but we're gonna mess up along the way. And you know what that means? And I said this to Eternal just yesterday. We had Eternal Sincere on the show yesterday.
Okay.
And I was telling him, it makes us human when we make mistakes. He says he overthinks things. And I was telling him, you know what? That makes us human. So along the way, you're going to have life's challenges and it's going to get bumpy for you. But the best thing to do is keep pushing forward. And yeah, I love your transparency right now, what you just said. Spot on.
Yeah, yeah. It was honestly, I guess, the best policy, as they say, the classic saying. And shout out to Luke, by the way. He's one of my old school friends. Still my friend now. Of course, one of my boys now. But if you're still watching, Luke, hope you're doing well, brother. And thanks for the shout there. But yeah, so I can see yourself that you also have uh, some kind of foundation spiritually, or maybe I'm assuming wrong. Don't let me
No,
don't let me
yeah,
assume. Just from what you said about the likeness and things like that, I can hear little things like that pick out in my ear. Okay, so you know something about something.
I'm no Mona Lisa.
Yeah, fair.
I'm no Mona Lisa. I'm not perfect. I've been a bad girl at times. But the thing about it is, I have people surrounded by me, family, and you've mentioned family and friends in the beginning of the interview a little.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why I am the way I am is because I'm so grounded. I have a huge support system, whether it's I call my followers my fashion dolls, or my friends, or my mom, or my grandmother. It's because I'm grounded and surrounded with a positive circle. And that means so much to me. And that's why I'm humble along the way and spiritual. So, yes, I put God first in everything that I do, first and foremost. Every morning when you guys see me get up, I post something, um, a scripture every morning. So, every morning before I get up, even before I do the show, I'm taking the time to just sit and be still and be in the moment and be in the present. So, without God, nothing is possible. Without him in my life, nothing would be possible if it wasn't for him. And I give him thanks each and every day. So you're right. But yes, I can't, no, I'm not innocent. I've done some things,
Hey,
not bad things, not malicious like that. But yeah, you know.
amen. I hear you. I hear you. Definitely.
Yes, so it's about humanity. Even as you get up in this industry, it's about remaining humble and staying true to who you are. And
Yes.
most importantly, your supporters, your viewers, your followers, when they see that, they'll be like, "Ooh, okay, I can definitely take a hint from this because what he or she is saying, I can relate to. I've been through this, and that's the reason why my platform is formatted the way it is, and my support system is the way it is because people are just so, they're just shocked at how down to earth I am. It's like, my, you've changed a lot of, life's experience.
Amen. Definitely. And you're based
All
in
right,
North Carolina, right? Is that correct?
South Carolina, yes,
South
Southern
Carolina.
girl.
Nice. Southern. My family's from the south. Well, Louisiana, Texas, stuff. So I know.
Known for spicy food. Yes, Lord.
Yes, Lord. Yeah, I know about the food and the lifestyle. I love it. I love it.
All right, so speaking of spice, the moment you guys have been waiting for, and I've been holding off on it. Donnie posted a picture on his Instagram, and people went crazy. We all know that the Met Gala, which is the biggest event in the fashion world ever,
Yeah.
the who's who of everyone showed up there, and the theme this year was gilded glamour, and it takes place back to like the 1800s with the big poofy I've already, I'm a very curvy girl, so I couldn't wear some of those dresses that the girls were wearing, the ladies were wearing in the 1800s. But the theme was gilded glamour, and I kind of posted a little bit of example of what you guys can expect with gilded glamour. Um, Guess who was at the Met Gala? And I'm gonna let Donnie finish this one up.
Well, thank you. Do you know what? The funny thing is, I didn't really know much about what the gala is actually about. I knew that it was a big event that was held yearly, and I know that some people that I know have been to it in the past, but I didn't really know how big it was. Um, so I just accepted to do the job through one of my agents that I work with, and they put me on the job and a few other guys in the industry. And by the way, I do some of these events, not often enough like the gala, but I do these events every now and then, in between the gigs. When things are quiet, we do, most people in the industry, we do these events in between. And so I accepted to do this event, and I said, oh, you'll be basically greeting the celebrities that come in, and you'll be maybe holding some of their dresses as they're walking down to the red carpet to have their picture. And, ask them if they're okay, you just chat away. So basically, it's pretty cool gig to have. So yeah, I turned up to this, and I didn't realize how big it was. So yeah, the fashion, it gave me a new love for fashion, I must admit. It really did open my eyes up in a different way, like in terms of my respect for designers, respect for the creativity. Like, it really gave me a different level of respect for fashion, because been in the industry for a while, and it's kind of like, clothes are clothes to me, and you just put them on and you get pinned here and there, and then you have the picture. But spectacular outfits. Got to meet some really cool people. So yeah, pretty much so the ironic thing is you're in line with these I guess A-list celebrities, sorry, right? A-list celebrities from all over the world, and they're all lining up to get their picture taken at the end of the red carpet. So you're in this big marquee before, so they come out the car, you might greet them, before they come out the car. Can we get anything for you, blah, blah. So would you like your dress to be held, keep it off the floor. So you have their dresses are, some of them are very heavy, some of them without some made out of mesh, like some crazy things. So you have to hold it in a certain type of way. And then it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to actually get down the line. So whoever you're put with, you're having an interaction with them for about 15 to 20 minutes. So I was really getting to know some of these people, in a different level to what you might usually get to. And it's a different kind of access, isn't it? Like being able to access certain celebrities is not very, very frequent. I mean, I've met many in my time, and it's been a blessing. But to the extent of what that was a different level for me to experience. But I couldn't help to just visualize myself being there as a guest, not working, but having my time. It was like visualizing what I want to get used to for something that I hope for to come, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I couldn't really sleep that night very well. I just had so many things going on in my head, meeting these cool people, and getting to really see a different side of how things operate, But yeah, met some really, really cool people, and the last walk, I think they saved Kim Kardashian till last. I think they saved her till last.
Yes.
Yeah, they saved Kim till last. I didn't know that she was wearing Marilyn Monroe's dress and all this stuff, and it was a whole big thing for her and Pete. Is it Pete she's seeing now?
Pete went. Yeah.
Pete, that's right. So yeah, they just, I thought that was the last of the guests. There's about, how many of us guys doing it? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10, 8 of us guys. But so we'd walk one celebrity down, then we'd go to the back of the line and get the next one who was coming. So kind of get who you get. And then everybody had walked down at this point. And at the end, there was, they said, oh, there's one last guest we have for you. Luckily, they picked me and some other, one of the other guys there. Can't remember his name. I just met him that day. So, and then it was like, Kim, come around the corner. I was like, oh, all right, save the best till last day. So yeah, couldn't really have much interaction with her because of the whole craziness around her. She has a whole team of videographers and cameras, but this was like before walking up to the carpet. So, you kind of just say hello and walk down with them, and then release them up to the end. So it's a really good experience. Really good experience.
And for those of you who don't know, the Met Gala has been around for years, and they've been doing it since 1994. And I've seen pictures of how it came this far before they started changing up the carpets and just the whole aesthetic of everything. The camp theme, they did a theme where I can't remember the previous one. It was just like a gray and silver, like a robotic theme. And then Rihanna's gown took, what was it, 2 years to make almost. The yellow one that she wore the previous year before. Now, Kim Kardashian's gown that she wore to this one was $5 million because that was an Icy Miyake. Icy Miyake has designed for Tina Turner, Cher, some of the most amazing women in the world. I think he even did Diana Ross as well too. So that's a big deal to be wearing Marilyn Monroe's Happy Birthday gown. Definitely, definitely. And when I seen the picture, I said, I know he's got to be freaking out on the inside. You were so composed. You just stood there looking so dapper in your tux. But you've mentioned something that stood out to me, and I'm going to give you this. As you said, I want to be walking that carpet one day. It's going to happen. And you want to know why? Because I believe in manifestation. And with your career in the fashion industry, it's going to be so much more opportunities that are going to come for you, Donnie. You just got to manifest it. I'm a firm believer in manifestation. One guest that I interviewed on my platform, shout outs to Donnell. He came back last year in 2021 and he said, Miss Stevie, yo, I'm doing something. And it's going to be on Netflix. It's going to involve Wu-Tang. And then the trailer came out the next 4 years. It was the Wu-Tang film. So what the Wu-Tang film about the hip hop group Wu-Tang. So you never know. You put it out there, it's gonna happen. So you're gonna be walking that carpet. I can guarantee you that, Donnie. It's gonna happen. And you said you just got a new. I was gonna ask you that also. Who are some of your favorite designers with you being in the world of fashion, and where did you get your style? Because you're very eclectic. Again, very dapper, very clean, very put together, and your Instagram looks just like a fashion magazine, a men's fashion magazine. So where do you get your sense of style from, and who are some of your favorite designers?
Well, thanks for your kind words there. I appreciate that. Going back to before I forget, going back to on the manifestation part,
Yes.
definitely agree with you on that. And it's just a matter of time, isn't it, for us, for wherever we're destined to be. I just think it's just when you're ready at the right time, that's when things will happen. But you have to remain consistent and faithful to what you're trying to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have to remain faithful. And I've had a couple of close calls, a couple of close, those breaks that you're waiting for. I had a couple of those, but I think the next one will be mine. So thank you for that encouragement, by the way. So in terms of designers, though, do you know? I don't know many designers in terms of I should. I've been in the industry, how many years? Maybe it's 17, 18 years. But if you're talking like mainstream designers, like high street designers, is that what you're talking about? You're talking about specific designers like Vivian Westwood and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Or are you talking
Yeah.
about high street design companies?
Yeah, like high fashion, like a Tom Ford, or as you mentioned, Vivian Westwood.
Okay.
There's Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Kors. Let me see. Givenchy is another one. It's so many. No, that's a jewelry house. I was about to say Lorraine Schwartz. Louis Vuitton is another one. Off White is another one. It's so many fashion houses out here. So,
Right. Okay.
what are some fashion brands that you like?
Okay. In terms of brands, so I thought you meant like specific designers. I don't know too many, like broadly, but um, the brands that I do like, definitely. As I'm getting older, I think I kind of like the dad clothes. Should we say like the Kohan? I like the Kohan, the Banana Republic.
Okay.
Um, I do like. Um, let me start wearing. I mean, if I go high street, I like Zara's clothes, but they don't really fit me very well. I like their style, but they don't fit me. I don't think they're good for tall people. Um, oh, sorry, I thought this was just about to fall on my head, but it's not. It's okay.
Oh no.
I heard a sliding noise. I was like, it's going to fall. Um, yeah, Banana Republic, Kohan. Shoes. I love shoes. I love shoes, by the way. Alan Edmonds. I don't know if you know. Alan Edmonds is a really nice prestige shoe company that they are known for providing all the president's shoes. So there's a classic style shoe that every president has worn except Donald Trump. But let's not talk about. Typically, he hasn't worn the shoes that Alan Edmonds had, but every president has worn his shoes, and they use that company. So I really like their style. Where else? There's a place called Mango as well. And I do like Bloomingdale's. They have, it's like different styles, isn't it? But Bloomingdale's have really good selection. They don't get the usual selections that are in the actual stores, the actual trademark stores themselves. They get a special collection in there. So Bloomingdale's usually have a really nice selection. But I kind of try and keep it classic. I try and keep a classic look, like just that pair of jeans that you always wear, the classic V-necks, the round and crew neck. Nothing too much more in terms of jewelry. I wear a watch and maybe a ring, necklace here and there, and then keep it kind of classic and timeless, so it doesn't go out of fashion. And every now and then, maybe for a special occasion, I might jazz it up a little bit. But I think I'm quite boring with my style. But if it works, then I won't complain. Definitely.
Not at all. Not at all. From
How
and I'm
about
gonna show the
yourself?
audience some of the looks. This is not boring. This is Donnie's Met Gala look. I don't see nothing boring about it at all. I see a nice, clean cut guy. And most men, when it comes to fashion, men are now pushing the envelope just a little bit. But for me as a woman, it's easy for me. We can take the risk and do, if we want to show a little leg, we can show a little leg, a little back, a little everything. So for me, I love to push the envelope. But we're seeing more and more men push the envelope as well too. Like Pharrell Williams is another one. Odell Beckham has been doing it. ASAP Rocky, like Idris Elba, they're all pushing the envelope for men's fashion, and you too. So your style is not boring. It's definitely clean cut,
Well,
and I love a clean cut guy. I love a man in a suit. That is, if I ever get a chance to grace the red carpet, and I have my guy on my arm, a nice clean tux is the way to win my heart. And I've also done a tux on the show as well too, but it was the woman's version. So shout outs to Victoria Beckham for that inspo. But
yeah, she
yeah,
wrote it down.
yes, and she does it very, very well too. Her and David, like if you've seen both of them grace the red carpet together as a couple, they both are on cue. And that's a couple that I could say definitely do fashion well. Another one I would have to say is Russell Wilson and Sierra. Right on cue,
Nice,
definitely.
nice.
And we have a question for you. Donnie, what is a classic style you will feel you will continue to have longevity for years to come? And do you
So could
feel
you
fashion and runway
what?
carry well in a real day to day?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Oh my God, they're coming in so fast. We got
Sorry,
three for you.
my
Okay,
phone is going mad. My phone is playing up with me today. Of course. Sorry.
I got you. I got the questions. They're coming in. Hey AG, I just had this conversation with AG yesterday, and he says, I don't have a favorite fashion house. So AG is also coming back on the show. We talked fashion yesterday, so it's interesting to hear a man's perspective on fashion versus a woman, because a woman, we can say, oh, easy. For me, I can throw on a crop top and a dress, a skirt or something. But let me go through these questions. What is a classic style you will feel will continue to have longevity for years to come? And the next question is, do you feel fashion on a runway carries real well in day to day? And what is a female garment that you would not shy away from wearing? Yeah, it's a lot of that. Fashion world has changed.
Interesting questions. Let me try and remember those in order. The first one was a classic style that won't ever go out of fashion. Um, a pair of Levi's jeans and a white tee with with a pair of tennis shoes. You know, just a classic tee and jeans. Doesn't matter where you are in life, how wealthy you are. That would always remain a good look. Um, as long as it's clean and new, I think that's a classic look. Just a nice tee and a pair of jeans, pair of Converse, or a pair of Kohans. To that question, but for the fashion runway question, I don't think they're realistically suitable for day-to-day life. So that's a good question. I think that was Liz, wasn't it? Liz Music.
Yes.
Yeah, the runway, it's always exaggerated. It's more extravagant. It has to be spectacular for a runway. The underlayers that they use on runway, like maybe just a pair of shoes or the tank top underneath this outfit you could wear, but most of the runway stuff is not usually realistically economical for day-to-day use, if we say. And the third question, I believe, was what would be a piece of a woman's garment that I would wear? Was that the question?
Yes.
Um, well, I wouldn't personally wear a woman's garment, but to be honest, though, it's all pretty similar these days. Like, a lot of things are unisex, A lot of
Yes.
things are very similar, so I guess you'd have to be a bit more specific on that. Like, maybe you could ask me, would I wear such and such? Then I could say, oh, maybe, maybe not. That'd be more of an easier question to answer. But I think in general, most things are pretty similar, like day-to-day use.
Yes.
That'd be my own personal answer, I guess, on that.
I was kind of chuckling and laughing a little bit, Donnie, because it was one fashion designer during New York Fashion Week last year, and watching the men's fashion week. And this men's fashion designer, he had the men walk down in like this, you know how a picture frame is shaped? And these shoes that were kind of shaped like a picture frame, like a card, like I can't describe the material. It was so funny watching the men walk down the runway in these shoes. And then the way that he structured these pieces of clothing is like out of wood or some sort of material. And I'm just like, I wouldn't wear that in everyday life. And shout outs to Valone 88. He said, Miss Stevie, now you know you wouldn't wear nothing like that. I posted it because I wanted to see it's different. Designers are coming up with different designs in the fashion world each and every day. Like the trends change, they do not stay the same. And you can see that influence from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all of that throughout the entire collection coming back and influence.
That's just a good point. Like, you wouldn't wear a pair of wooden frame-shaped shoes, things like that. It's crazy. Yeah, it'd be very difficult to live a day-to-day life.
Yeah, to wear like the guys that trying to watch them walk down the runway in those shoes was hysterical. And I think it was Jackie Muse, one of the fashion houses where they had the models kind of walk out in a certain type of walk, but their designers are becoming creative. Fashion is fashion. And as we spoke about art in the beginning of the interview, it is definitely art, but it has this humorous side as well. So,
There definitely has this humorous side. And it's hard enough to walk down catwalk as it is, let alone, you know, all these spontaneous designs that they come up with.
Yes. And we have another question for you. What is your go-to when you're getting ready for a social event?
My go-to is good. A nice pair of, actually, well, it does depend on the event. So hang on, you said for a social event, um, it's going to sound pretty boring, but I'll, depending on what time of year it is as well, say like it's in spring, summer, fall, which is most social events, maybe I'll put like a nice summer shirt, short sleeve shirt on. Um, you know, not quite Hawaiian, but you know, that kind of, should we say, tropical vibe, but
I
kind
get what you're
of
talking
toned
about.
down a bit. Yeah, maybe might have a few florals or flowers on your shirt, but have it fitted with a short sleeved. Just have a nice watch on, pair of maybe a nice pair of slacks, fitted slacks that are tapered. I do like to get the ankles out a little bit with a nice pair of tennis shoes, you know, like a pair of Kohans. Um, or I just wear a nice fitted tee and tuck it in with a belt with a nice pair of slacks and a watch and a pair of shoes, you know, black shoes or brown boots. That would probably be my go-to, unless there's anything else in my wardrobe. I need to top it up at the moment, to be honest. So this has definitely inspired me to buy some more clothes. So thanks for that.
Oh, we're helping you get your style together, but Donnie, you've already got it. Again, you are a beautiful man. And it's like whenever you put on a tux or something, you bring it to life. Most men don't do, most men are not fans of putting on tuxes, but there's so many men's fashion magazines out here like GQ and so many others that you can pull fashion inspiration from. And for me as a woman, women have been getting away with wearing menswear for years. That's been the trend. We can put on like I've mentioned Victoria Beckham because she basically does pantsuits, and she's such a style influence of mine. But I also like to, I love gowns. I've been doing a lot of gowns and dresses lately because you've mentioned spring fashion. And with this pandemic going on, it's about comfort. So I'm glad you've mentioned jeans. My mom is like, when are you going to start wearing jeans? I'm like, Mom, I want to show, Mother, I want to show a little bit of skin today. I want to show a little bit of back. Like today, this gown that I have on is totally backless. So it was hot. Like, I'm just like, it's all about comfort. Fashion should be about comfort, knowing what works for you. I'm not going to put on a skin tight leather cat suit and walk around town with it on and be sweating like, oh, Jesus, I'm about to pass out. So, no, I can't do it. Fashion should be about comfort. We got another question, fashion related for you. And it's when did you realize your interest with fashion and how have you applied it to different areas in your life?
When did I realize my? It was through. It's a good question, by the way. It's through actually just working in the industry that I began to learn. Because first of all, we have to understand things sometimes to appreciate them, right? So clothes weren't just clothes to me anymore. Um, and so when I started doing advertising and doing e-commerce for clothing and stuff like that, and whatever it be, you start to see how things are put together. And there's quite a lot of, well, quite a lot. There's so much work that goes into that. There's so much thought that goes into that, and it creates this. It's almost like you're creating an identification for this person's look. You're making this person with these materials. So and then I start to see how things were made and different designers and stuff. So I'm like, wow, I actually start to like fashion more and think about it more. Actually, let me just think about how I'm dressing more myself. And even, like I say, even to this day, how many years I've been in the industry, and still now, it wasn't until the Met Gala where I've had a new love for fashion from seeing the work that went into the outfits. So I think from going in the industry, that's where I started to love fashion a bit more. It's a good
And
question.
we have another question for you from Jay Evans. Shout outs to him. Do you think fashion designers could have better style options for big and tall men? Because you've
Sorry?
mentioned, being a tall guy and not being able to fit into some of the outfits. I think it was what was it, Zara? I think he said Zara.
Yes. Do I think fashion designers could have a better style options for bigger? So I do think they can. Um, the styles that like so Zara, for example, right? Um, just maybe make or do what you're doing, but make a size available for taller guys and bigger guys. Yes. Um, most places are okay actually. For me, I'm not like overly big. I'm like what 6'2". I'm not like my sizes are usually like medium to large. So I don't really have too many problems for that. But for my height, in terms of I've got long legs, long slim legs. So sometimes it's difficult to find jeans. Like they'll get the waist size, but they won't get the length right. And then if they do get the length right, they don't get the cut right. So the taller men, I would say there definitely needs to be more variety for that. So good question.
Absolutely. And we're seeing more designers be more inclusive. Like shout outs to Donatella Versace and Olivier Rousteing Balmain, which is another one. They're being and Zach Posen and Christian Siriano, all of these designers are size inclusive. And I love them the fact that they're showcasing women of all shapes and sizes. And for the men's side, you've got the Balmain. Olivier Rousteing does that as well too. So we're seeing a lot of luxury fashion houses shift and take the narrative and say, okay, we're going to cater to all sizes. Um, it's not really a high fashion brand. It's just a fast fashion brand, Fashion Nova. I love the fact that they're catering to all sizes for men as well too, as well as for women. So I'm a curvy girl. I'm a tall, curvy girl, and I look at Meg The Stallion as a reference because she's tall and she's curvy as well too. I'm like 5'7" for those of you. So if I put on heels, it'll probably shoot me up a little bit,
That's six
just a
foot.
little bit of give me,
Yeah.
I'll fake it. But yeah, I agree with what Jay Evans said. It is difficult for tall people for us to kind of find stuff in our size. And we have another question for you. Fashion can be equal to the identity. What piece of clothing is equal to your identity?
This is some good questions Liz is asking. Um, what piece of clothing is equal to my identity? Hmm. The white V-neck. Actually, just a V-neck. Just a V-neck. I got a V-neck on now. That's just I just wear a V-neck. V-necks for me is not like a we say in England. Forgive me for saying, it, but not like this slut neck, as they say. Not like you've heard of that expression. Like not too low for me, but just a nice V-neck. The V has to fit just right in the chest, and I think that's kind of my go-to safety top. Um, if that answers your question, hopefully.
I would have to say for me, I love Sarah Jessica Parker as well too. Carrie Bradshaw, Sex in the City. So Tully skirts would have to be my favorite. I love fashion that moves when I walk into a room. And I wouldn't wear it every day, but for the show, I definitely would. I would get glamorous and just go crazy with it. But for every day, I would probably wear a top, just a little something simple. But I agree with what you said, Donnie. Like I couldn't wear it every day, going out to the grocery store and I'm wearing couture. Like it just
Yeah.
it just won't work. I wouldn't be able to maneuver. And some of those gowns that you mentioned at the Met Gala, they were pretty heavy. So there was one time I wore like a Tilly skirt, and I actually took it and I turned it into a strapless dress, and
Well,
perfect. It was perfect. So it was my Sarah Jessica Parker, Carrie Bradshaw moment. It was a black Tilly skirt. I don't know where it is in my closet. I have so many clothes, but yeah,
okay.
find a piece that's a true staple to you that works for you when it comes to fashion because you can always think outside of the box, and put some Converse with it, put some sneakers with it, whatever works for you. Put your own spin on it, have fun with it.
Hmm.
We're in the middle of, we're quarantined. Some people are still in quarantine or quarantining. And while we're home, we want to feel comfortable. When you're doing Zoom meetings, I know everybody won't be focused on what's down, but while you're up, you can give them, okay, this is it.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Do you design yourself then?
I wish I had a seamstress, God rest her soul. She passed away. She was a family friend of ours and a relative as well. And she would always sew our clothes. So I've kept a few pieces in my closet. She made a few pieces for me, my sister, and my mom. And I've kept those pieces to cherish. So would I design clothes? I absolutely would. And I've actually thought about designing a clothing line because, I'm very eclectic with fashion. I love vintage. I'm a vintage girl. That's another thing. I love Chanel. I love Jean Paul Gaultier. I love Tom Ford. I love Valentino. I love Oscar de la Renta, Zach Posen, Marc Jacobs. Those are a few of my favorite. Victoria Beckham, of course. Parenza Score, Christian Siriano. It's so many. Um, we have another question for you. What is the material you feel serves best for design and construction?
That's very technical, that one. Design and construction. Um, do you know what? I wouldn't really know the best answer for that. Design and construction, because like it does depend on what item you're wearing. Like if you're going to wear a two-piece suit, right? Um, there's a certain material for a suit that you might have
Yeah.
that might not necessarily be good for the day-to-day t-shirt or a pair of jeans or a shirt, right? So um, I wouldn't know specifically the best material to go. I say it would depend on the item you're wearing and the like. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Does that answer the question, Liz?
Does that
Yeah,
answer?
because yes. And the thing about again, when the thing about fashion is about again comfort, and a tux material is totally different than your average dress material. It's completely different. Like there's so many fabrics out here. There's taffeta, there's silk, and I like silk because of just the feel of it, like that smooth, clean feeling. And then the way the garments just hit your skin, it's just like I'm in love. I'm in love, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I would say
You feel
silk.
that yes,
Yeah,
silk.
I
It
was going to say silk for like, especially for dresses though, for females. It looks really nice and elegant for females. So yeah, silk is very good for
and the way it's just draped across the skin, like it's something about it. It's such a rich feeling. It's such a rich feeling, and you feel. I talk about indulgence as well too. Now, if you're getting that garment, once that designer makes that garment for you, and you try it on, and they say, "Okay, come in for a fitting so that we can make sure that everything fits," and you try it on, and it hits your skin, it's just like, it's like a breath of fresh air.
yeah, I bet. I bet. So, even like silk shirts are very nice and comfortable,
Yeah.
and they yeah, fitted for the body. It's a good one.
I love it. I like it clad. I like it when it hugs my body in all the right places. If I'm putting on a blouse or a dress or skirt or something, it is hugging everything in every right angle. I'm just like, yes, this works. So it's always about, a lot of people try to be conscious with their bodies when it comes to fashion as well. But I'm just like, what the hey, just live, just try it. You never know until you try it. And if you don't like it, you can always go back and change it to something else.
And you can just as long as you get it like fitted to your body, whatever type that is, as long as it's kind of tapered to your body, it works. It will work definitely.
What would you say your home is a reflection of your fashion? Would you say your home is a fashion home? Would you say your home is a reflection of your fashion aesthetic?
At the moment, definitely not. But usually it will be. I'm actually in a temporary place at the moment, so that it was like to put my head down. My home was like a last minute move, so it's very basic. Like I have a bed and a sofa, a TV and a carpet, and typical male bachelor pad, right? So um, it will be though. Usually, my previous place was a reflection of I guess reflection of my fashion myself. Like I like things very neat, very symmetrical. I like the way I line things up in the home is definitely a reflection of the way my mind works. Even in my fridge or my cupboard, yeah, it's kind of lined up. Things are lined up a certain way. Yeah, someone's laughing there, so they know they must have the same issues as me in terms of symmetry.
And being organized. I mean, I have a lot of stuff everywhere. I have a lot of clothes and purses and stuff everywhere, but I try to keep everything organized where it's just like, okay, in one place so that I can easily get to it and easy access.
Right. Even if it's an organized mess, at least it's organized, right?
Right.
That's the main thing.
All right, fashion dolls, it is time for our games with Donnie. And then we're going to take two more questions or a few more questions, and then we're going to conclude fashion dolls. The first one is called the Rapid Five. And Donnie has to tell us five things that he can't live without. And then in the next one, we're going to do Turn the Tables, where my guests get to ask me questions, uncensored and unfiltered, as many as they want. So I don't know what Donnie's going to ask me, but we're going to start off with the Rapid Five. What are five things that you can't live without?
Food, God, God first, of course. God,
Mm,
food, sleep, friends, and happiness.
mm.
If that is part of the question, I don't know if you've meant materialistically or in terms of lifestyle. So,
No, you're perfectly fine. You could have said God. Most people say, their family, their friends. Some will say their pets. Some will say food. Some will say water. There's different answers to it. So perfectly, and you answered it for God first in everything that you do and family. So perfect.
awesome. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. So,
Always, always. All right, fashion dolls. My heart is beating so fast. Um, Donnie is about to turn the tables on me and ask me some questions, fashion dolls, and I have no clue what he's going to ask me. So take it away.
we have no clue what I'm going to ask you. So, actually, I'm going to ask you the same question there first. Five things you can't live without with.
Um, God is number one. Family is number two. Number three, uh, lots of water. Lots of water. Keep hydrated. Keep your skin looking good and glowing and refreshed. Number four, some highlighter. Some highlighter.
You got to be
Special
honest.
thanks to my makeup artist for the glow. So some highlighter would have to be number four. Number five, I would have to say pepperoni pizza. That is my guilty pleasure.
Good
So yeah.
choice. Good choice. And where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? I see myself with my own network, for fashion, for producers, actors, directors, musicians, and in this talk show to be on there as well too, for all Black content creators, and we can have a space where we can all be up under the umbrella. Sort of like, um, shout outs to him, John Singleton, amazing director, amazing producer, rest his soul. Um, and Oprah has her own network, so
Mhm.
I could see myself having my own network in the future. That's where I see myself in 5 years.
Nice. I can see that too. I can see that too. Um, I was going to say, do you think that you have, do you think you understand your purpose in life? And if so, what
Sometimes
would that be?
my purpose, God has given us all gifts, and my purpose is to basically inspire, encourage, nurture. The you've mentioned in the beginning of the interview, there's youth out here watching us. There's the young generation that is watching us, that is looking up to us. So I believe that our purpose is to inspire the generation that's coming after us, that want to be the next Miss Stevie, that want to be the next Donnie Riser, that want to be the next uh Lizzo, that want to be the next Liz, that want to be the next, oh my God, Russell Harris, who's an amazing artist and coming on the show next month, who want to be the next Russell Harris, who want to be the next Beyonce, who want to be the next anything, but just be yourself. So that's my purpose. And I believe that, I'm still working on my purpose and into my purpose. And with the power of manifestation, fasting and praying, it's all coming full circle for me.
Awesome. It's a very honest answer.
Yes, and it's written in the stars. I'm the type of person that I believe that it's written in the stars. Whatever God puts out there for you is for you. Don't let nobody else take that blessing away from you,
Amen.
and hold tight. My grandmother always told me, hold tight to it. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you dreamt about doing since you were young, go for it. Go for it because it's meant to be.
Amen. Good answer. Would you like me to ask you another one?
As many as you want. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll ask you another one. Is there anything that in your past do you feel that you would regret, that you've regret?
My eyes kind of shifted a little bit because yes, I have done things in my past that I kind of regret. And it's just being, I was cocky when I started out doing this. I was very cocky, and my response could have been a little bit better because I started off young. Now that I'm 28, I see things in a completely different light. When you develop and you grow old and mature with age, you see things in a different light. You see yourself in a different light. And I would go back and look at some of the stuff in my past and just like, wow, okay, I need to sit back. I need to reflect on this because this could have been done a little bit better. This could have been avoided and handled way differently than your response than how it is. Handle it maturely. So absolutely. I do regret it. Trust me. Accountability is key. And that's one thing that we kind of talked about the day before with Troy Skinner, who's a producer and director as well. And he said, oh yeah, we definitely have to have conversations with ourselves where it's just like hold ourselves accountable for things that we've done. We can't change the past. However, we can sit back in the moment and we can reflect.
Good answer. We can learn from them, right? So
Yes.
okay. Well, I won't slam any more of those kind of questions to you. But
No, no, it was kind of funny because my eyes shifted. I'm just like, okay.
no
I
problem.
was like, okay, I have to go back there, but I don't mind. See, that's the part of being human. That's the part of being humble. That's growth. It's a part of me. I can't change it, but however, you can have a different response to it and you can work on it. What you've done in your past, you can't change it. You can't go back in time and change it, but you can work on having a better future, a better present, because what you've done you did it then. What you're doing now, and as you're growing and you're learning and you're thriving, or shout outs to JL Allison, she said this. She said, as you're learning to get experience through life, or she says, shooting the breeze for hours, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Hey girl,
There you go.
that is my best friend Stephanie. How you
Uh,
doing?
Let me just tell my,
Go
my
ahead.
my phone's really playing up. Can you see? Is it light enough here? My phone's dark. I don't know if it's gone dark on the screen for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we can see you. I can
Okay,
see
okay.
you.
That's all that matters. I didn't know it was like blurred out completely, but I did one more. I did want to ask you actually, um, what well, how long have you been doing this concept for, and what inspired you to do it?
I have been doing Style by Stevie since 2016. I started off very like at 17, 18 years old, and I had no clue what I was doing. I just took it and I said, you know what? Let me go on ahead. Right after high school, graduated beauty school, and I said, let's just do something. It was so random, Style by Stevie. So to see where we're at now in 2022, to be sitting on this platform with the likes of yourselves and so many others is just a blessing. And I'm truly blessed. You know, during those times when I started, that's that cocky era, that cocky stage.
Hmm.
Where I was just like, okay, I'm gonna read you today. I'm gonna get into you. I'm gonna curse you out. I'm gonna do this. But I really, and my girlfriend Stephanie can attest to this if she's still here. She sees the growth and change. I've toned down a whole lot because I'm a Scorpio, and we know Scorpios are just like we're water signs.
Yeah,
So
my
we do
mum is.
our
Yeah.
I was a firecracker, but now I've just kind of like toned down. Like, is it really worth it? Because getting mad can raise your blood pressure and cause so much stress. Like, what is it gonna do? So we've been doing it since 2016.
Wow, fantastic. I think, by the way, when I was, looking at your background and how much you've done, I think it's a great thing you're doing, and I think that you're definitely a professional at this. So just to inspire you and encourage you more, definitely keep it up.
Thank you, and it's such an honor coming from you. I'm so honored to have you here on my platform. I know we went overtime, and we're gonna take a few more questions, Fashion Dolls. I don't know if Donnie, do you have any more questions you want to ask, or
Um, I think that's all of them at the moment. If I think of any more, I'll
he
definitely ask you some more.
he went deep, y'all. He asked me about, how has my past reflected me into now, and I have no problem with talking about my past because that was my past. That's something I can't change. And to people out there who think that, oh well, I can go back and I can change the past, you can't. Move forward to the present. Start anew. And that's what this pandemic has kind of taught me. My mom told me this because we never expected this to happen. It just came on us. It came on all of us. Like when the shutdowns and everything happened, it just took us all by surprise. And to see it's kind of brought people together just a little bit, it's a good sign. And I hate that it took this to happen, but it should have been happening to bring people closer together and kind of just sit back and self-reflect on things we didn't know about ourselves or other people, you know.
Awesome,
So yeah.
awesome.
I'm done preaching on my soapbox now.
Right.
We have a question for you. Let me see. Let me scroll up and see if we got it. Shout outs to Liz. Amazing artist, amazing songwriter. She says, what do the following words make you feel? Window, cup, sidewalk, and roof.
What was the first word that you said?
Window, cup, sidewalk, and roof.
Okay, what do they make? How do they make me feel? Is that the
Yeah.
question? Window. Window makes me feel free.
Mm,
Um, what was it? Sidewalk. Sidewalk next. You say?
yes.
Um, makes me feel like I'm always on a mission because I live in New York. Sidewalk just reminds me I'm always on a fast mission. So mission, sidewalk. What was the other ones? I've just forgotten. Really.
Roof.
Roof. Um, it makes me feel summer vibe. Roof, just think sunbathe, rooftop. Yeah, summer vibe. Was there any more there?
Let me see. I think we just about got them. Let me make sure.
Which one? Sorry.
It was window, cup, sidewalk, and roof.
Oh, cup.
Hmm.
Cup. How does that make me feel? Cozy. I'm thinking cup of tea, biscuits, English and English cup of tea, cozy. Makes me feel cozy. There you go. Hopefully that answers the question.
All right, fashion dolls. And we are now coming to the end of this amazing conversation with Donnie Riser, ladies and gentlemen. My last question for you, and I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna conclude. What advice would you give to the next generation? Because there's so many people that are looking to get into the fashion industry and break into the fashion industry as well as the music industry. What piece of advice would you give them?
Good question. For those particular people that want to go into those particular fields of work in this industry, I always say be yourself.
Mm,
Always be yourself. Uh, of course, I'm going to say have a foundation with with God first. I always put God first. Have your foundation. If it's not God, have your foundation. Whether it's family, friends, have that foundation. Um, don't get caught up in comparing yourself too much because nobody else can do you better than yourself. So that's what I would
come on.
I would say. Um, and don't do anything you wouldn't want to do. That's pretty much, just be yourself. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. And stay true to who you are. Please don't lose who you are. Remain humble. And I've seen so many people in this industry get such a big head as they grow along the way. And I'm just like, okay, don't become alienated. Stay true to who you are. And I just said this in the beginning of the interview. Stay humble. Because I've seen so many people let the fame and success get to them. Kanye West. Um, let me stop being
Yeah,
shady.
yeah,
But
it does.
yes,
Yeah.
humble yourself along the way. Please stay true to who you are and never lose sight of who you are. And more importantly, be original, authenticity. One more question for you, Donnie, and that is, what do you love about yourself?
Cool. That's a tricky one, isn't it? It's always hard not to come across like or feel big headed when you say it, right? Um, what do I love about myself? I've never been asked that question before. Um, I love that I don't give up. I love that I don't give up, no matter what it is. If I got my mind set on it, I don't give up. So that's what I love about myself. I hope that answers your question, Liz. So Liz, how
Yeah.
about you? What would that be for you?
What do I love about myself?
Yeah.
I would have to say my fearlessness, my courageousness, my boldness for calling out for what it is, because I wasn't always bold throughout my entire life. For people to build up confidence, people say, well, confidence, it takes time. Some people can't just be bold and step outside of their comfort zone and do things, you know, whether it's a career move or standing up to someone. I've been bullied a lot throughout my childhood. That's one thing people don't know is that I've been bullied a lot.
All right.
And it's just like they see the growth and they're just like, wow, you've really changed. So I would have to say my fearlessness and courageousness is what I love about myself. I'm unafraid and I've learned to just be at peace within myself.
It's good. It's great. It's great. Thanks for your question, by the way, Liz. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name. Yes, Liz.
You got it. It is Liz. All right, fashion dolls. And this was our interview with model, actor, artist, Donnie Riser. Let everyone know where they can follow you and if you have any projects coming up.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me again. So I really appreciate it, and I hope in the future we get to reconnect as well. Um,
Definitely. Yeah.
I would say, oh, you can if you're interested, you can follow me on my Instagram page, which is just Donnie Riser. Also, I do have Twitter as well, but I don't use it. So I do have that. But if you are interested in anything in your skincare, if you like to take care of your skin and things, I do have my own skincare product, which is a clay mask. It's a clay mask on a stick. It's called WOWO Sticks, and the WOWO stands for Wipe On Wash Off. It's a the concept is on like a roll-on deodorant stick, but it's a face mask, so you don't have to get the messy hands part. The first scent that I've released was green tea, and it has aloe vera leaf, green tea, kaolin clay, cucumber, and vitamin E. So I've had many good testimonies and feedback from friends and just customers that testify it has actually helped with their acne and stuff like that. It helps even out the skin as well. So, and it's very small, compact. You can take it anywhere. The Wipe On, it stands for Wipe On Wash Off, which I got from Mr. Miyagi, Karate Kid. I don't know if you remember, wax on, wax off. I thought Wipe On, Wipe Off. So WOWO Sticks is the name. That's on Instagram. Sticks is spelled S-T-I-X. So WOWO, W-O-W-O-S-T-I-X. If you want to check it out, just go to the page and it will give you information a bit more about the client testimonies and about the products itself. So yeah, I didn't mention that earlier, but that's something else for another time, maybe.
Definitely, I would love to have you back in the future. This was such an amazing interview and conversation, and it was such a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
You are so welcome. Joining us tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have another artist. Jamai Music will be joining us tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 4. Saturday, we have Renaissance and A.G. Robinson at 1 p.m. And that concludes our lineup for this week. It's been amazing interviews all throughout this week, and this one definitely tops the cake. So thank you again, Donnie. It was such a pleasure to have you.
You're welcome. You have a good day. Rest of your day.
You too. Take care, fashion dolls. We love you and see you guys tomorrow.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Bye.